Trong chương trình tuần trước thì chắc hẳn là các bạn đã có một cái nhìn tổng quan thế nào được gọi là một dự án xanh. Và ở vấn đề phát triển dự án xanh tại Việt Nam hiện nay thì đang ở trong thực tế tình trạng như thế nào. Tuy nhiên thì để tìm hiểu rõ hơn về một dự án xanh cho người dùng và làm thế nào để chúng ta có thể sở hữu được đúng một dự án xanh tiêu chuẩn để tránh trường hợp là mua phải một dự án xanh được quảng cáo một đằng nhưng thực tế lại một nẻo, thì hãy cùng chúng tôi đến với Có hẹn với chuyên gia bất động sản ngày hôm nay. Và trước khi bắt đầu với chương trình thì hãy cùng chúng tôi đón xem một clip ngay sau đây.
Chủ đầu tư quảng cáo một đằng, bán nhà một nẻo, nhiều dự án nhà ở quên công viên. Được quảng cáo là khu đô thị sinh thái, có vườn thượng uyển, có công viên cây xanh và hồ điều hòa rộng hàng chục ha. Nhưng khi nhận nhà, khách hàng mới ngã ngửa vì vườn thượng uyển toàn cây chết khô, hồ điều hòa chỉ là ruộng muống, công viên cũng chưa được xây dựng, thậm chí không có một bóng dáng cây xanh nào. Nhiều doanh nghiệp vẽ ra kịch bản quảng cáo hấp dẫn với những tiện ích trên trời. Nhiều khách hàng muốn sống xanh, chấp nhận trả giá cao gấp rưỡi, nhưng khi nhận nhà mới phát hiện thực tế khác hoàn toàn quảng cáo. Càng băng rôn phản đối, làm đơn tố cáo chủ đầu tư, nhưng cuối cùng thứ mà cư dân nhận được chỉ là những lời hứa hẹn mơ hồ, hoặc thực tế hơn thì được miễn phí quản lý trong 1 năm.
Và chủ đề chương trình ngày hôm nay của chúng ta sẽ là dự án xanh quảng cáo một đằng nhưng nhận nhà lại một nẻo. Và đồng hành với chúng ta ngày hôm nay sẽ là chuyên gia Douglas Snyder. Ông hiện là phó giám đốc của Untitled Chapter. Welcome to our studio today, meet Douglas Snyder, Deputy Director. First question I would like to focus on, there are many people who buy house and they think the green project is include many green elements like the tree planting, like a lake. But maybe because many people, they still do not really understand what is a green project is. So being clear about the green project, can you summarize the most common home buyer mistake about green building?
Trees and vegetation and plants around the building is actually very good.
Some lake.
Yeah, it's actually part of green building, but it doesn't mean that the project is a green building.
Yeah, it's just element, right?
It's one element, yeah, and it's important because trees make us feel more comfortable. Actually, they know that the stress level in people goes down when we have trees around us, so it's a good thing. But other things that families and potential home buyers should consider would be, what is the energy efficiency of this building? What's the water efficiency of the building? And are there any special materials that are used? Was there attention being paid to low toxic materials or no toxic materials? So, especially for a young family, if they have children, we all want everybody to be healthy. And so you want to make sure that there's good, clean air in the building. So those are things to consider as well.
What are the green certificates that make a home buyer easier and more secure when making a choice? Like Edge, like Lotus, and like LEED, right? So many people, they know about that name, but they don't know what is the difference between them. So can you more again explain for audience they can know about that?
Let's start with Lotus. So Lotus is a system that was designed and made in Vietnam and for Vietnam, which is very common. There are many countries around the world that have their own green building system, and there's a good reason for that. The reason is that the system is localized. It's made for the local conditions. It's made for the local economy, and so that's an advantage, right? It's you don't want to take a system necessarily from Northern Europe and try and use it in Southeast Asia. In some ways, it's not going to fit quite right. So what's really nice is that the thinking behind Lotus was, this is for the Vietnamese market. This is going to help. It's going to fit with the culture, fit with the society, and fit with the environment. So in those ways, Lotus is very good. It's also a comprehensive system, so it includes energy and water and the site, materials and indoor health. It has a community component. So it's a very comprehensive system, so it's very nice. Then we look at something like LEED, which comes from the United States. So that was developed about 20 years ago, and it's been in the market, it's the second longest system in the market, and it has good international recognition. So a lot of times developers will first think of LEED, and it's an excellent system. There's nothing wrong with it. It does have the ability to adapt to local conditions as well. Sometimes it will defer to the local regulations instead of the United States regulations to make it easier. But it's also a very sophisticated system, and so because it's been around so long and it's had many versions. Sometimes it's difficult for projects to achieve what they need to do to achieve LEED certification. So in that way, for some projects, some developers, some design teams, it's not the best system. But there are plenty of international manufacturers and investors that's the system they use, and they've been using it in other countries, and when they come here, they bring it here. And that's fine too. EDGE is, as I mentioned, was designed by the IFC, which is a member of the World Bank Group, and their focus is on trying to promote green building in emerging economies that haven't been using green building. So how do we make a good, strong system that is easy to adopt, right? That's user-friendly. And so the IFC spent, I'm assuming, millions of dollars to create the software to do the analysis, and then they put it online for free. So in that way, it makes it a lot easier. It's easier for people to access it. Anybody can go online, register an account, and test their building. So that's something that the other systems don't offer. The system itself focuses on energy, water, and materials, which is a very specific focus, and it's the most important categories we have for trying to deal with climate change, but also to make the buildings cost efficient and cost attractive. So that's the focus, and it's gained a lot of traction in Vietnam in the last couple of years. It's the fastest growing system to be used in Vietnam. So that's what we're looking at. Yeah.
If I'm a home buyer and I would like to buy the green apartment, so can I totally believe in those certifications like LEED, Lotus, or EDGE, or I have to find out more information or more documentary?
There's always going to be some risk, right? And no matter where you are, no matter what the project, but at least with an actual green building system, the design team, the investor, the construction team, they all have to go through a process. They have to submit documentation. It gets reviewed. In some of the systems, there's on-site inspections. And so there is a quality control process. And there's levels of review. So I think that 90-95% confidence is probably just fine. It's realistic to have for green buildings. That's all that the homebuyer can. Well, the homebuyer can have that confidence, know the system, confirm the system. But what's a little bit tricky is when it's a new project that hasn't been built yet, and somebody's saying, "I'm going to buy a condo or an apartment in this project." But if it hasn't been finished and they don't have their final certification, then how do you know to make the commitment to use your money? One way that the green building systems have worked to try and solve that is to give a design phase certification. So if there's a design phase certification, you can be confident that the building is at least, the project is thinking about it, and they've made a design that qualifies. So that's a great first step. I mean, that's a really important thing to be able to confirm. And the green building systems offer that, all of them. So LEED, Lotus, and EDGE all have design phase. So that would be something that a home buyer would want to ask about. Do you have your design phase certification, or when do you expect to get it? And to stay connected to that and keep asking until they get that information. The other thing is you can wait till the project is built and then buy a property, and then you'll know that it has its final certification. And of course, the last option is to go with a developer that already has green building projects. You know, those are the leaders in the market, those are the heroes in the market, and they've proven their ability, so that you can have more confidence in going with somebody who's already done it. So yeah.
In situation of Vietnam now, so with at least how much money I can buy a green standard building?
If it's a 0 to 3% upcharge for the investor, then that's the only increase in cost. So it could be no increase in cost. And that's because a lot of green building is just smart design. It's not adding more things. It's just doing it in a smart way. Or it could be a little bit more. So it depends on how much the investor is going to be passing on down to the buyer. But there really shouldn't be a significant difference in cost for the typical green building. Now there aren't these yet, but eventually there's going to be super green buildings, right? So super green buildings will be coming to Vietnam probably in the next 5 years or so. You'll see some projects that are really exceptional, and when you look at it, you'll say, oh, it's very different. So when those start coming out, yeah, there's going to be an increase in cost, but you'll expect also the same return on performance and quality. So then you'll probably expect to pay a little bit more.
Okay, so if I access the official website of BDOS or Edge, so if there's any information of developer who now have the certification.
Sometimes the registered projects are there, and sometimes they're not, because if it's a new developer, they might be a little bit shy to say they're trying to do green building, because if it fails, then it would be bad advertising, right? Well, it's possible. It happens sometimes, sure.
Oh, how can they fail? It is a lot of, like a money or...
No, sometimes it's something, well, a lot of times it's just documentation. Maybe they didn't save the paperwork. So maybe they did it, but one of the contractors didn't save all the paperwork and invoices that show the proof that they bought this product and not the other product. So it could be that. Maybe they missed some of the milestones in the process. So
to give the Vietnamese home buyers some advice to buy the green, the standard green building. So do you have any advice for Vietnamese home buyer?
Yep. Ask the developer what system they're using for green building. Ask them if they've gotten their design phase certification. And then ask the salespeople to tell them what are the green features in this project. Give me some details, and that should help a lot. And they could also go to some of the websites. If somebody likes to learn, is interested in some of the details, they could go to the Vietnam Green Building Council's website and look at the details for the Lotus system. They can go to the Edge website, which is available in Vietnamese also, so they could go there and learn about some of the details. And in 1 or 2 hours, I think that they could learn a lot of what it is that makes a green building green.
So thank you a lot for attending with us, and hope that in the near future Vietnam real estate market can have more green building and more green apartment for all Vietnamese people. Okay, so thank you a lot for being with us today.
Thank you too. Thank you very much for having me.
Hy vọng là với những thông tin chương trình ngày hôm nay đã cung cấp thì tất cả chúng ta sẽ có những sự lựa chọn nhà sáng suốt và thông minh nhất. Và cũng hy vọng rằng trong tương lai thì như tôi đã trao đổi với chuyên gia, Việt Nam của chúng ta sẽ ngày càng có thêm nhiều những dự án xanh, những công trình xanh để mang lại những giá trị cho cộng đồng và mang lại cho chúng ta những cái môi trường sống trong lành hơn. Và chúc cho tất cả các bạn hãy cùng sáng suốt lựa nhà và chọn được ngôi nhà ưng ý nhất cho bản thân mình.